Imagine standing at the edge of a storm, chaos swirling around you, yet you remain unshaken. How can this be? A philosophy that teaches us to embrace life's challenges with unwavering resolve. We often find ourselves overwhelmed by destructive emotions, anger, fear, despair, but what if we could rise above them? Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, reminds us that the obstacle is the way. Each difficulty we face is an opportunity to cultivate resilience. Seneca urges us to practice self-control, to recognize that our reactions shape our reality. When we learn to detach from what we cannot control, so what should we do? Let's not shy away from discomfort. Instead, let's confront it head-on. Every setback is a chance to strengthen our character. Epictetus teaches us that it's not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. By shifting our perspective, how can we turn suffering into wisdom? If you can force yourself to live like a Stoic, to see the world for what it is, not what you wish it to be, you can cut down 95% of your difficulties before they even touch you. The rest you will meet head-on, unshaken. The core of Stoicism. The Stoics weren't dreamers, they weren't idealists painting pretty illusions about life. They stared reality in the face, its brutality, its randomness, its indifference, and they chose to master themselves instead of begging the world to be gentle. Epictetus, born a slave, crippled by his master, he taught that freedom doesn't come from chains being removed. It comes when no one and nothing can touch your mind without your consent. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote to himself in the quiet of the night, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Seneca, advisor to emperors surrounded by danger and betrayal, told us, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This is the first lesson. Your enemy is not the event. Your enemy is the storm you create in response to it. The trap of destructive emotions. Think about your worst moments. How much of the pain was caused by the thing and how much was your anger, your fear, your humiliation dragging it out? You got insulted, and you think it for days. You lost money, and you added panic, shame, and self-blame to the loss. You were betrayed, and hate has left you hollow for years. The Stoics saw these as self-inflicted wounds. We cannot stop grief, anger, or fear from knocking on the door, but we can decide it should, whether to let them in, feed them, and let them burn our house down. Modern psychology has caught up to this truth. Cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the most effective treatments for anxiety and depression, was directly inspired by Stoic thought. It's not about denying emotion, it's about mastering the interpretations that fuel them, the discipline of control. There's one exercise that sits at the heart of Stoicism. Divide the world into two categories: what is within your control and what is not. You control your judgments, you control your actions, you control your effort, your honesty, your courage. Everything else, other people's opinions, the weather, the market, the past, the future, is outside your control. To fight these things is to exhaust yourself in a war you can never win. We forget this. We wage war on what we can't change, then neglect the things we can. We drown in news headlines we can't influence, while ignoring our own habits, choices, and inner state, the only battlefield where victory is possible. Marcus Aurelius didn't ask the gods for a lighter burden. He trained himself to carry more weight. That is the Stoic path. Voluntary hardship, training for the inevitable. Here's something that might sound insane to a modern ear. The Stoics sought out discomfort. Seneca advised his students to practice poverty for a few days, wear rough clothes, eat plain food, sleep on the ground, and remind themselves, "Is this what I feared?" Why? Because they knew comfort breeds fragility. The more we cling to ease, the more fragile we become when life rips it away. You don't build resilience in the moment of disaster. You build it in advance by choosing small trials willingly. Cold showers, fasting, saying no to pleasures you can easily afford, holding your tongue when insulted. Each act is a rehearsal. You're telling your mind, "I can live with less. I can endure more. You can't scare me." Memento mori. Remember, you will die. Every Stoic carried a silent reminder, you will die. This isn't morbid for the sake of drama, it's clarity. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." When you hold death in view, pettiness burns away. You stop obsessing over insults, gossip, trivial ambitions. You stop delaying the changes you know you must make. The modern world is obsessed with distraction, anything to avoid thinking about our mortality. The Stoics faced it daily. That's why they lived deliberately. We can't stop death from coming, but we can stop living as though we have unlimited days to waste. Unity in the struggle. We are not the first to face chaos, injustice, or uncertainty. Every human being before us has walked into the same storms. Some were crushed, some stood unshaken. What separates them isn't luck. It's the decision to govern the self instead of the world. The Stoic path is not solitary, it's shared. When we discipline ourselves, we don't just carry our own weight, we become pillars for others. We stop adding to the world's chaos. We meet hardship with calm instead of panic. We live as examples of stability in an unstable age. How to start living like a Stoic. Today. 1. Control the controllable. Write down what's bothering you. Split it into in my control and out of my control. Refuse to waste time on the second list. 2. Daily reflection. Like Marcus Aurelius, write to yourself each night. Where did you fail today? Where did you show strength? What will you do differently tomorrow? 3. Practice voluntary hardship. Choose at least one comfort to give up for a week. Prove to yourself you don't need it. 4. Pause before reaction. When anger rises, say to yourself, "This is just my impression of the event, not the event itself." Breathe. Then choose your action. 5. Memento mori. Spend 1 minute a day thinking about the fact that you will die. Let it sharpen your priorities. The price of ignoring this. If we refuse this discipline, life will discipline us anyway, but without mercy. The market will crash, people will betray us, bodies will fail, time will run out. If we have not trained, each blow will feel like the end of the world. But if we live as the Stoics taught, we'll meet those same blows and keep walking. The storms will not stop, but we will stop breaking in their presence. Epictetus told his students, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." That is the challenge, not to talk about Stoicism, not to collect quotes, but to live it. To wake each morning with the weight of the world pressing in and still keep your mind untouchable. To lose what you love and still walk forward without bitterness. To know that you will die, and therefore refuse to waste a single day in pettiness or cowardice. If we force ourselves to live this way, deliberately, without excuses, we will not become invincible, but we will become something rarer, steady, unmoved by the chaos around us. And in a world that trembles at the slightest wind, that is a kind of power no one can take away.